All right, let's take a little trip back in time. But we're not just going to open a history book. We're going to hear the story of America's beginning through the eyes of one man who actually lived it. His name was Zachariah Hildreth. So I want you to picture this. It's the year 1856. An old man, 73 years old, is sitting by the fire with his grandkids in a little town in Massachusetts. That's Zachariah. And we're about to listen in as he tells them his life story. This is our window into a completely different world. Now, to really get who Zachariah was, you first have to understand the world he was born into. Because here's the thing, he wasn't just born in a new country, he was basically born with it. Check this out. Zachariah was born in April of 1783. That's the exact same year the Treaty of Paris was signed, officially ending the Revolutionary War. Think about that. He wasn't just in America. He was born at the very same moment as America itself. He was literally a child of this brand new nation. But, life in this new country was, well, it was unbelievably hard. When he was only 10 years old, Zachariah's mother died. And in his own words, that meant childhood was just over. He and his siblings had to start acting like adults, learning about loss and responsibility way too early. And that resilience, that toughness, it was all built on a foundation of really hard practical work, specifically the trade that would pretty much define his entire life. So Zachariah was a cooper. What's a cooper? A barrel maker. Now, that might sound kind of quaint to us today, but back then, it was absolutely essential. I mean, everything from flour and apples to whiskey and salted fish, it all had to be stored and shipped in a barrel. Coopers were like the invisible engine of the whole economy. And his craft wasn't just one thing. There was slack cooperage for making barrels for dry stuff, and then there was tight cooperage, which was for liquids. That one took incredible skill. I mean, you had to make a wooden bucket completely watertight using just wood and metal bands. He learned both from his dad, and he got really, really good at it. And this was the lesson his father drilled into him. It's such a powerful piece of wisdom from that time, right? That real security, real self-reliance came from knowing how to do something that your community needed. His skill wasn't just a job, it was his family's safety net. But his life wasn't just about his work. Not at all. The real heart of his story, the absolute center of his world, was his family. In 1809, he met a young woman named Hannah Sawtell. He was 26, she was 20. They courted for a year, and then in 1810, they got married. And just like that, they started a life together that would end up spanning almost half a century. Together, they had a huge family, 9 kids in total. But this timeline, wow, it really shows you the incredible highs and devastating lows they went through. They'd celebrate the birth of a child and then suffer this unimaginable pain of having to bury 3 of their own daughters. And you can just hear the profound sadness in his own words. Losing a child was, tragically, a common part of life back then. But as he says, it never, ever feels natural. It was a kind of pain they had to carry with them forever. Okay, so let's zoom out a little bit. Because while Zachariah is living this very personal life of work and family and loss, the world outside his little town was changing at a speed that is just staggering to think about. So what's this number 31 all about? Well, during his lifetime, the United States went from being the original 13 colonies to having 31 states. The entire country literally expanded from the Atlantic coast all the way to the Pacific Ocean, all within his 73 years on this planet. And just look at travel. He was born in a world that moved at the speed of a horse, on muddy, difficult roads. He died in a world where steam-powered trains were crisscrossing the country, moving, as he put it, faster than any horse could run. That must have felt like absolute magic. Communication saw the same crazy leap. When he was young, getting a letter from a city a few hundred miles away could take weeks. By the time he was an old man, the telegraph could send that same message in minutes. Time and distance were basically being crushed. This one really sums it up. He saw the world go from a place where his wife made cloth at home on her own spinning wheel to a world of massive factories where giant machines did the work of hundreds of people. He literally watched the birth of the Industrial Revolution unfold right before his eyes. So, after witnessing all of that, a world completely turned upside down by technology and expansion, what did he learn? What did it all mean to him? Let's go back to that fireside one last time and hear his final words of wisdom. He boils his whole life down to these 5 simple but really profound truths. And what's so amazing is that even after seeing trains and telegraphs remake the world, his core values are all about the things that never change: family, hard work, community, and just appreciating the time you have. And that's his final take on it all. You know, he was never rich, he was never famous, he never really left his hometown. But he built a family, he served his neighbors with his skill, and he loved his wife deeply. And to him, that was it. That was success. And here's the last page of his story. Just a year after he shared all these memories, his beloved Hannah passed away. And only 9 days after she was gone, Zachariah followed her. It's a heartbreaking but also a beautiful ending for a couple who shared everything for nearly 47 years, a life that was truly well lived.